How's it going, Primes? Chicken is Prime here, and I'm back with a new video. This video is going to be a little different. I got this idea from my sister-in-law, since she's asked, hey, why don't you record as often anymore? I take about like a week, almost 2 weeks off every video. But, she asked me, why, don't I record much? And, it's because I don't have a lot of, I guess, drive for it right now. I'm hitting kind of like a dry spell, something like that. But she told me, she said, why don't you start doing like talking about things you like, like a story time type type video. So this is going to be a start of a new series or new playthrough, or not really playthrough, but the thing in my channel called, I guess, like story time with Prime, or y'all know what I'm trying to get at. But as you can see, Transformers Crossfires in the background. What I wanted to talk about was when, how, and why did I get into Transformers? Or how much I'm into them now. Well, it was the early years of 2005. I think it was 2005. I was like 6 years old. And, no idea what Transformers were. I knew what Thomas was. I've grown out of Thomas, but Thomas is the reason why I'm into trains so much. I love locomotion and all that. But it was like the early years of like either 2005, 2004. And the reason why I'm not so sure on the year is because I can't fully remember when this one specific Transformer line came out. And it was Transformers Energon. Now, personally, at that age, I never really watched it. I never really watched a lot of Transformers. I just didn't know what they were. I mean, my dad, of course, knew what they were, and me being a little kid, robots, mechs, vehicles, dinosaurs, the kid's gonna love that. And what got me into it was, not only was it my dad who got me into it, my first ever Transformer. Now, I can't remember if I've talked about this or not, but as you can tell by the name, my name, Optimus Prime. A lot of people think, oh, my first ever Transformer was Optimus Prime, or another certain Prime, Rodimus Prime, Primus himself, because I remember that toy came out in the early years. No, it was actually Transformers Energon Inferno. He was my very first Transformer. Now, it does get a little murky in the waters a little bit, because it's either Inferno or Armada Bendy Prime. It was one of those two, but in like old kid photos, it was always Inferno. The reason why I say it might have been Armada Optimus is because I had a Armada Optimus with the yellow eyes, black helmet. Like, instead of him being red, white, and blue, he was red, white, and black. And he had the planet symbols on his armor, or on his body, like in the Cybertron series, he had the keys. That made me realize that it wasn't that Armada Optimus, because the Cyber Planet keys came out way later than Energon. But that's that's just kind of another story. But anyway, it was Transformers Energon Inferno. Now, I still like Inferno. Not as much as Optimus. Optimus is up there, kind of the generic take, but Optimus is just that good of a character. Inferno would probably be like close second. Right now, I don't really have him anymore, because, as a kid, you move, you lose things, you break things. It's normal, and so I don't really have him no more. But I do have the Earthrise mold. And that's been the only mold I've had so far. So I've only had technically only one Inferno for 20 years. About the one same Inferno for 20 years. And then I got the Earthrise one that came out. But from then on, I started getting dabbled in a little more of the Transformers media. Yet again, with Energon coming out, I was able to somewhat catch the show. Same thing with Cybertron. Yeah, Cybertron. And then, picking up some memorabilia, like reading some of my dad's old comics, because he also had them. My dad would also give me some of his old Transformers. One of them that I still have, it's back at their house, is the original G1 Swoop. He's missing his head and his guns, but he still looks like a Transformer because where his neck connects to his head, it kind of already looks like a face, like with greebling and like slits. But around 2006, when I was 6 years old, the commercials for Transformers 2007 came out, and my dad wanted to go see it. Because, that's been a while since my dad was a kid. They stopped doing it in the late 80s. Came out with G2, but my dad was already kind of an adult at that point. And he was more of a Star Wars fan. But, we went to go see the Transformers G1 movie. I loved it. I still like it to this day. Sure, there's some problems with it, but I still enjoy it. Right now... Sorry, I had to clear my throat a little bit. I don't know. I feel like really incongested right now. But I've been holding this video off for like a few days. I should post it. Anyway, so Transformers 2007 came out. Loved the movie. I had Jazz, the 70s Camaro Bumblebee. I had Landmine when he came out. And I want to say my Nana, she got me the iced over version of Megatron, the Voyager Megatron that has the iced over. I didn't have I didn't have any of the leaders. I mostly had Deluxes and Voyagers. I think I only had one Voyager beating the Megatron. But I also had the Ratchet, the original Ratchet, but it was in his G1 colors. I had him too. I remember when they did that, they did kind of the G1 color style. Had a couple of them, had quite a few of the Allspark powered figures. Yet again, I had Landmine. I had all the drones. I had Swindle, Payload, Dropkick, and Dreadwind. It's either Dreadwind or Dreadwing. But I had all of them. And I think, I think they were called Fast Action Battlers. They I don't know if that's the name of them, but they could transform like very easily. I had Barricade. I had the 2008 Camaro Bumblebee. I had Blackout, and I want to say I maybe had Optimus, but I don't think I had Optimus. I think the funny thing is about the first movie is that I never got an Optimus. Never got him. But yeah, I never had the first movie Optimus. I had Megatron. And then I had like other versions of Optimus from that Armada figure that was repainted for the Cybertron line. I had that one. Wow, I didn't have a lot of Optimuses when I was younger. I more had just random characters. I had Bone Crusher. I did have him, the deluxe version. I had Deluxe Bone Crusher. And I want to say that was it for the first... I also had a couple of the Energon redo figures. Because they did a couple. They repainted a bunch of the Energon and Cybertron figures for the first movie. I had a couple of those, but I never really had them together because they just looked so different compared next to each other. But yeah, I had them. A couple other stuff came out. Transformers Animated came out. I really enjoyed that show. A lot of these figures that I'm bringing up. I also had Jazz. But a lot of these figures that I'm talking about, I don't have them anymore. Because when I was about, I think, 16, I thought I was grown, and so I gave them all away. Didn't even sell them, I just gave them away. And that was a horrible idea because all these figures that I got rid of are like hundreds of dollars on eBay now. Landmine alone was like $100, but I was able to find them for $50 in a collection store, sealed in box. So I was able to get him and his repaints, which is pretty cool. But yeah, going back on Armada, Animated. I want to say I had Blur, and this was when I started getting a couple more Optimuses. I had Blur, I had the 2-pack of Optimus versus Megatron when they were on the Ark. I had a quick action Bumblebee where you press the button and transforms. I had 2 of them. I had the yellow one, and then I had the police car variant. I had Voyager Bulkhead. That was more of my brother's, though. I had Voyager Lugnut, which I really enjoyed. I had Leader Megatron. I had him. I want to say my Nana also got me him. yeah, sold him too because I thought I was grown, which sucks. Uh, yeah. Oh, I had Retgar as well. I had Retgar, and then I had like a fast-changing Starscream. I had more. I had more of the cheapo Transformers when I grew up. Never really had the more $20, $15 ones. But as that went on, there were some odds and ends here. I want to say, no, that one never. That line didn't come out yet. The combiner one, I forgot what it was called, but the one where you had the main robot body and then you had the drones. I forgot that line's name, but I didn't have those. Going on more and more upward to like 2009, 2010. I want to say it was 2009. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen came out, or the trailers did. And I remember I was going to Supercuts next to my GameStop across the street from my Walmart, which is still there. I was walking and my dad wanted to show me because I was starting to get more and more into Transformers. I had Oil Slick from Animated. Lost his leg though, but I had Oil Slick. He was pretty cool. But we were watching that trailer, and I remember they showed that they made it look like a horror movie almost. The Autobots are losing. Optimus is getting his ass kicked, right? And it showed the forest scene. Now it already showed Demolisher or Scavenger. It was one of the two. I think it was Scavenger. No. Yeah, Scavenger. It was the white one, not the red one. When he's going through Shanghai and he rips that bridge apart, I seen that and Optimus jumps on his head. When I was younger, I thought, Scavenger grabbed him and headbutted Optimus because after that scene, you see that metal thing hit Optimus in his face and his faceplate breaks apart, right? So that's what I've always thought. If you guys haven't noticed yet, I've never watched G1. Now, my dad has talked about it, showed me comic books and all that, but I never really sat there and watched it. But after that little side thing, let's go back to 2009 when Revenge of the Fallen came out. I hated the movie. Didn't like it. Still to this day, I still don't really like it. I have rewatched it or tried to. The only parts that I cannot get through are the human parts, which is normal. Everyone was like that with the Transformer movies. The human parts suck, but never really watched them or never really liked them. I seen the forest fight and Optimus died, right? I felt upset, but it was like there was nothing to it. It's like he got snuck up behind and stabbed to the back. When he killed the Fallen, that was pretty cool. Killed Grindor, pretty cool. I grew up with like the violent Optimus. When the movie was over, my dad talked about. He said, I just realized. And I was like, yeah, 10-year-old me, not 9-year-old me. He was telling me how when Optimus died when he was a kid, he stayed dead. He never came back until like way later, but he stayed dead. So a little bit after that, when I was getting older, I can't remember when Dark Moon came out. I want to say it was like maybe 2011, 2012. When I was, still in middle school. I think 12 years old. No, 11. I want to say it was 11. And around that era, Dark of the Moon came out. The Dark of the Moon. I forgot to talk about the Revenge of the Fallen toys. I had a couple. Yet again, didn't have a lot. Never really had the Voyagers or Leaders. I more or less had the Deluxe and smaller. It was Hunt for the Decepticons is when I got a lot of the figures. Pterodive, I think that's his name, the orange one that they repainted him in like Sky Shadow, I think that's his name, where it was like mostly clear plastic, and the Stingray from Beast Wars, I forgot his name, Depth Charge. But yeah, I had him. I had Hubcap, which was pretty cool. I think I have in my collection right now, since I don't have a new one. While thinking of all these names is some crazy work. I forgot his name, but he's the one that can magnetize all the Autobots together. He's red. Windcharger. I have Windcharger. I think he was from Hunt for the Decepticons. but I have him. He's very G1 looking, but you know, I have Wind Charger. I had it was like a spy drone that looked really close to Shockwave. I think his name was Sunspot. I had him. He was yellow and white, but they had like other versions that were like black and purple that went with Mind Wipe. They had Starscream's G2 version, or not G2, but like Beast Wars Neo, where he was like blue jet. They made a bunch of figures on him, and I had him. Oh, for the Decepticons is when I had a lot of the figures, because it was like G1 and the movie verse put together. And that's what my dad always told me, so. Yeah, I had a couple of them. The Revenge of Fallen line, or the Revenge of the Fallen movie was pretty dog water. I never really liked it, like I've said at the beginning. But the toy line was really good. I remember I've had Soundwave. I had the Scout version of Ravage to be in scale. I had, I want to say I had Scout Megatron, because I remember his cannon. I've always remembered his cannon. This is when I started getting even more Optimuses. I had the Voyager for Optimus. I didn't have that real big expensive one. I had the one that was apparently a mold from the first movie, but they brought it to the second movie and just painted him up a bit differently to give him like a dirty texture. I had him. And didn't have the Fallen. Oh no, I had the small version of the Fallen, small version of Jetfire, small version of Optimus, small version of Megatron, Bumblebee, and a couple others. I had Sideswipe. I had the original Sideswipe, which was pretty cool. I had Breakaway, which also was pretty cool. I got him because of the video game that came out. That's why I forgot to talk about. I forgot to talk about the video games. But yeah, you know, I had a lot of video game characters. But bringing up video games, I'm just gonna make this section pretty quickly. I was a huge fan of them. War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, Armada, the first three Michael Bay movie games. I was a fan of those. I liked Devastation. I liked the little computer games that you could get. You can see I'm playing one on Roblox right now. I just had a lot of fun of them. Rise of the Darkspark I never touched because I just did not like the preview, didn't like the gameplay, just none of it I liked, so I stayed away from it. But going from that, you know, jump a couple more years, Dark of the Moon came out. That one was 2011, I want to say. And no, was it 2011? Yeah, I think it was 2011. I love the movie. Sure, Optimus did a whole bunch of war crimes, but the human parts were more like you could sit through them more. Like even now, when I'm rewatching it with like a friend of mine, I could sit there and watch Sam. I know it's gonna sound gross. Get straddled in the bathroom by I forgot his name, but it's when he gets thrown out the window by Laserbeak. That scene, I could somewhat watch it. A lot of the human elements I can sit there and watch. You know, they're not as cringy as they were before, but the robot scenes were fantastic. I liked them. Even if Optimus is doing war crimes, I still enjoyed the movie a lot. The ending, though, was a little. I liked the ending when I was younger, but the older I have gotten, the more I appreciate the original ending, where him and Megatron, you know, they shook hands and just parted ways. But for Dark of the Moon, that's when I started getting more and more into figures. I had another Voyager Optimus, but this one had this weird deco on him. It was like hexagonal. He was really tall and lanky. He had like 2 canisters on his back. I had him, Shockwave, Ironhide. I had Roadbuster, Thundercracker, Megatron, Bumblebee, of course, a couple others. But I mainly had the ones that were easier to find in stores. I also had Commodore. I had him. I want to say I had that Commodore, but I didn't get the Optimus. I got Commodore on his own because I was trying to re-get all my figures. Another one of the figures that I tried to re-get is Reveal the Shield Lugnut. Reveal the Shield, I had a couple of them too, which were the same thing. It was like G1 and movie had a baby, which I'm okay with. It makes it look more realistic. Cool. I don't have that much time left. We're going to talk about Optimus's death. I've started growing accustomed to Optimus, right? I started watching more of the G1 episodes, more of the cartoons, the movies I really enjoyed, and so we decided to pick up the G1 cartoon, or the G1 movie. I think it was like 20th anniversary. It was some anniversary version, and we got it. And my dad was telling me, he was like, "Look, this is a movie that made a lot of people upset." And I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. I love the movie. I love it. I love it now. But the scene that always changed me was Optimus's death. Now, I'll know, I've seen it in Armada, I've seen it in the Bay films, but something about this G1 death just hits a little different. And I want to say it was because the G1 Optimus was more of a father figure to a lot of people, and started becoming one for me. When I think of Optimus, I think of my dad, my biological, my dad. I think of him. And so when I hear Optimus talk, do all of his speeches, his action, I think of my dad. So when it showed the scene of him dying, it hit hard, like very hard, and it still upsets me to this day. But yeah, that is why I'm into Transformers, because they've been there for me since the very beginning. They've been there since the very beginning. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video, or in the video, it exceeded its mark. But yeah, it's normal for everyone to look at Optimus like a father figure. I'm not saying like I don't want him to replace my dad at all. I'm just saying that Optimus reminds me of my dad, and that means a lot to me, because it's like my dad and him have almost the exact same values. Now in the Michael Bay films, I don't know. I think they have more in common now, because you gotta explain that Megatron killed Sam. Optimus went nuts. Optimus has to protect Sam. Forest fight. The last thing he's seen was Sam being scared, so Optimus came back with a vengeance. Anyway, rambled on a little too long. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed me explaining the history of Transformers with me. I know it's a little shamble, because I never really, I don't do story time that much. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me rambling on of why I like Transformers so much. Yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful life. I hope to catch on the next upload that I'm going to do later. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful life. And this is Jacobs Prime, signing out until all are one.